Hi there, my name is Tim and welcome to my channel. And welcome to this Trading 212 portfolio update for April 2025. And it's been a while since I did my last portfolio update back at the start of the year. And a lot has happened recently, where it's been a turbulent and volatile time in the financial markets, with much of this being fueled by erratic policy announcements by Donald Trump and the US administration, particularly in relation to tariffs, with 10% levies across the board, larger reciprocal tariffs being implemented on the 2nd of April, only then to be paused, a 90-day period of uncertainty, 25% global tariffs on aluminium, steel and cars, and mega tariffs imposed on China, which were duly reciprocated, triggering a full trade war between the two largest global economies. Not a day seems to pass without hearing some more shock announcements, and what is for sure is that by the time I publish this video, it'll probably be out of date. But hopefully, you get a picture of how volatile the markets are going to be over the next year or so, if the last few months are anything to go by. It's not only investors in the conventional sense of the world who are affected by the markets. Millions who wouldn't class themselves as this pay into either workplace pensions or private SIPPs, and these are all intrinsically linked to the stock market. So when large falls are experienced, this could directly impact on the size of your retirement pot. This is not so bad if you're younger, and you have many years to go until you have to rely on this, but worrying if you're getting closer to retirement. And many people will panic and make knee-jerk reactions when they see the value of their portfolio fall, worrying about losing everything and selling out to limit losses. But quite often, to do so would make things worse, as those losses, being on paper, are generally temporary. Whereas if you sell out your assets, you lock in those losses permanently. The way that the stock market works can be compared to the seasons of the year. Winter is when the downturn hits and the market declines. Here it's time for your patience and resilience, waiting for spring to come again. Spring is a recovery phase, where the market begins to grow after a downturn, optimism returns, and new opportunities start to bloom. Summer is where the market is thriving and growing steadily. Investors are confident and things feel warm and stable. Autumn is the harvest phase, where the growth slows and people start to reap the rewards of their investments. However, there is a sense of caution as the vibrant days of summer begin to fade. A reasonable strategy for a long-term and regular investor with a diverse bunch of assets would be to hold course and keep investing in the knowledge that spring and summer will soon return. And if you continue to invest during market lows, you will potentially get more shares for your money. So when the markets do eventually rise, the purchase price of your shares will be lower overall, creating a wider gap between the average purchase price of your shares and their market value. Investing regularly, whether the market is expensive or cheap, is known as pound or dollar cost averaging, and is a great way of mitigating the risk of large falls in the value of your portfolio when the markets fall. These price movements in your assets won't be so significant because you will have invested in them over time, both when they're up or when they're down, unlike the potential pitfalls of lump sum investing, where maybe you deposit a large sum the day before a market crash, and you could see this sum then fall significantly in value and very rapidly. When times are tough like they have been of late, try not to lose faith and keep going. Remember that what is happening now is just in the short term. If we look back in history, other significant events such as Black Monday, the 2008 financial crisis, or COVID were catastrophic, and great examples of how things look really bad in the short term, but ended up as a mere blip when you zoom out and look at the larger picture. So let's move on to the portfolio update for this month. And I've sold one of the ETFs in my portfolio since the last update, but this is mainly about housekeeping and nothing else really. To recap on how my Trading 212 portfolio invest account looked before, 55% was in the Vanguard FTSE Developed World ETF, 40% in the Vanguard Global Aggregate Bond Fund, 3% in Vanguard FTSE Emerging Markets, and 2% in iShares MCSI Target UK Real Estate. I've now sold the iShares Real Estate ETF, as I'm just looking for simplicity in my portfolio across all accounts now, by consistently having 60% in global equities and 40% in global bonds. This had lower maintenance for me with fewer ETFs, but with that reasonable global and asset diversity to help make my investment journey smoother. So my current portfolio now has 55% Vanguard FTSE Developed World, 40% Vanguard Global Aggregate Bonds, and 5% Vanguard FTSE Emerging Markets, with the 2% from the Real Estate ETF being redistributed. You can invest in global ETFs that include emerging markets, such as the Vanguard FTSE All World UCITS ETF, and then get emerging market exposure of about 9.5%, but often with a higher ongoing charge figure of about 0.22%, depending on which provider you go with. I like to invest in emerging markets in a separate ETF. This, for me, gives me more control over exposure, and I'm then only paying that higher OCF of 0.22% on 5% of my portfolio. 5% suits me, but you might see things differently. If you think that the likes of China, India and Taiwan are where the future growth opportunities lie, You might want to replicate that 9.5% exposure that market capitalization has determined. In my stocks ISA, I have almost identical proportions, with just a slightly lower exposure to emerging markets, but I'm going to look to rebalance that to mirror my invest account. As Trading 212 does not charge any platform fees for you holding your ETFs with them, and with there being no foreign exchange fees, as all ETFs are traded in sterling and on the London Stock Exchange, the only investment cost in this Trading 212 portfolio is the OCF, or ongoing charge figure. This is a fund cost and is separate from Trading 212. I've tried to keep these fees as low as possible by ensuring that I choose passive ETFs that just track an index. For example, the FTSE Developed World Index is an index of over 2,000 large and mid-sized companies from the developed world. I chose passive funds rather than active ones that cost more, as you then pay an active fund manager more to try and better the performance of an index. And across all of my Trading 212 accounts, the total OCF, and therefore the total investment charge, is 0.115%. This equates to a small sum of £30.54 per year on the total value of my investments of just over £26,500. And please remember that this video is not financial advice and is for educational purposes only. What suits me and the decisions I make in relation to my circumstances may not suit you, so do your own research and consider seeking financial advice if you're unsure of anything. In the last month, my Trading 212 portfolio has seen falls of about 3.5% total in value, which means losses of just under £1,000. Ouch. But this fall was cushioned because of that 40% that's allocated towards bond funds. Bonds themselves have not performed well, but they have been less volatile than stocks and shares. And things could have been a lot worse, with losses of about 7% or £2,000 had it been invested 100% in developed world and emerging market ETFs. Market volatility is unsettling, and if recent market swings have left you feeling uneasy about your investments, then it could be a good time to revisit your portfolio. Your asset allocation, the mix between those riskier stocks and safer bonds, should match your personal goals and risk tolerance. And feeling uncomfortable with that recent market dip may be a sign that you're holding too much risk for you in your portfolio. The chart shows the drawdown investors would have expected by holding 100% global equities versus a 60% global equity and 40% bond portfolio. The main takeaway is clear. Diversification can mitigate the pain felt by market equity losses. And by looking at the 60% equity, 40% bond mix in my portfolio, you can see how being diversified sufficiently can take the edge off things. So with all that being said, my plan for this year is to maintain a 60-40 equity bond allocation across all my accounts, to continue to invest consistently whether the markets are low or not. And the question of this year's ISA allowance, well, I've already deposited the £20,000 into my Trading 212 cash ISA for the year 2025 to 26. This enables me to benefit from 4.5% interest, which is currently being offered, and to then dollar cost average it slowly and incrementally into my Trading 212 stocks ISA, continuing with £500 per month for the time being. Transferring funds between accounts is seamless with Trading 212, which is another reason why I choose them. From May the 1st, Trading 212 is reducing the interest rate on cash ISAs from 4.5 to 4.35%. But if you hold cash in your stocks ISA or invest account, then the rate is higher at 4.6%. So on May the 1st, I might consider transferring the cash ISA money into my stocks ISA and holding it as cash there. Even though for that additional interest, my cash might not only be held with banks, like conventional cash savings, but could also be held in money market funds, which is different to cash savings, as money market funds are investments, and they do come with slightly higher risk. I did previously do a video on money market funds if you want more information on the subject. And the final part of my financial strategy for this year is to start planning for next year. And I'm already thinking about what I'm going to make use of that £20,000 ISA allowance for. At present, my intention is to transfer all my investments from my Trading 212 Invest account into my Stocks and Shares ISA. Because if invested outside an ISA, everyone has personal tax allowances for interest earned, capital gains and dividends. But there may come a time when you exceed these as your investments grow. I feel that I'm getting closer to this time and I now need to start planning for this. Of course, this plan will depend on what the ISA allowance is next year, as this is currently under government review. This is all theoretical at present, but I do hear that they're looking to reduce the cash ISA allowance at the very least. And this is apparently to try and get more savers to invest. And my hope, therefore, is that they'll maintain that £20,000 stocks ISA allowance to enable people to do so. But what happens is definitely one to keep an eye on over the next year or so. When we invest in the markets, we do so with the understanding that growth doesn't move in a straight line. There will be periods of growth and turbulence. Investors just hope to experience the former more than the latter. And markets go through rough patches, and dealing with those downturns is what separates a good investor from the rest. Selling your assets during downturns only cements your losses, and those that sell out then miss out on the potential recovery that comes after a dip. And missing out on those recovery periods can significantly impact your portfolio's value over time. Have a long-term investing mindset, as market falls are then easier to swallow against the backdrop of months or years rather than days and weeks. And this mindset will help you avoid knee-jerk decisions to help you stick to your broader investing plan. Timing the market beats trying to time the market. And the best time to invest is always now, as time is your biggest asset as an investor. Timing the market is incredibly difficult and something that those seasoned professional investors often get wrong. So why not take away that stress and invest at a pace that suits you? Set up a direct debit to avoid worries about market timing by investing little and often to stagger your entry into the market by dollar cost averaging. And construct a diverse portfolio with consideration to your risk profile and what you feel comfortable with, in line with your personal circumstances and financial goals. Thanks very much for watching.